Hello there. This is Ken again, and wanted to go over some notes on chapter 2. Hopefully, in the future, I've made a couple of these ahead of time, and therefore I have to put the notes later on after the chapter. In the future, I'll try to put it all together, and there won't be so much loading different videos to go with different chapters. Again, it is a learning process that I'm going through, and it's been interesting. But anyway, what I wanted to go over was how I emphasize in chapter 2 the concrete realities of our faith, and that we must take them as concrete, or it's just not going to make it for us. What we're looking at is First Peter chapter 1, 13 through 16. Let me read that for you. Therefore, prepare your minds for action. Keep sober in spirit. Fix your hope completely on the grace to be brought to you at the revelation of Jesus Christ. As obedient children, do not be conformed to the former lust, which were yours in your ignorance. But like the Holy One who called you, be holy yourselves also in all your behaviors, because it is written, you shall be holy, for I am holy. And so, therefore, he's not asking you to take action and start working about something that's not real. He's wanting you to take action on something that is true and concrete, which is more concrete than the desk that I am sitting at right now, or the chair I am sitting on right now. And so it's very important for us to realize that. And if we get that concept down, then that makes all these other things more accessible to us, and gets us fired up to want to work. And that's the key thing, is to prepare ourselves for action. God has put it in us to work for him, and that's what we want to do. If we're not working, then we have a weakness somewhere. We want to work. A citizen of heaven wants to get out and do something. And everything that our faith is based on is eschatological. In other words, we're looking to the future. That has higher, greater importance to us than anything else. We're looking down the road. We're looking at Christ, and that is our future. That is what's true and what is real. And everything we're going through right now is prepping us for that time. And that is something that we have to get a grasp of also. I wanted to read a couple of quotes from a book I thought was interesting. It's a commentary by Peter H. Davids, excuse me, Mr. Davids. And it's the first epistle of Peter. It comes from the New International Commentary on the New Testament. I want to make certain I give credit where credit is due. Don't want to get in trouble with anyone. But he's going over the same section here, and this is what he says. Yet Peter is not suggesting a flight into dreams of the future, the use of eschatological speculation as an irrelevant opiate to dull the pain of today, but rather a careful evaluation of present behavior in the light of future goals and an unseen reality. Therefore, the way one hopes totally by getting your mind ready for work and being well balanced. And if you want to be well balanced, then most definitely you are going to have your foundations. You're going to have something you stand on that means everything to you. And that's where we get into the citizenship of heaven. Number one, you are a saved individual by the living God. You have been brought into the family of the living God. You are now a citizen of the realm of the living God. And that living God wants you to grow and mature here, and concrete things that you can do here. Fellowship with other believers. That is of utmost importance, to be in fellowship, encouraging others as they encourage you, to be in prayer, of utmost importance for you to be praying about situations, for you to be sharing your faith. That is of utmost importance also. And so these are concrete things that you can do here that will help the concrete realities of the things that you cannot see yet. And that is so important, and why it's so important for us to get our mind balanced as to how we're going to confront the world and deal with the world. Also, in the same book, I've got a couple of them today. As you read through these different books and stuff, you run into things that you think are valuable, and sometimes other people can say it better than you can say it. So I just wanted to share it with you. He also says in the same book, page 67, the other one came off 66, this one's off 67. The gospel is an imperative to submit to Jesus Christ as Lord. Any commitment or faith that does not result in concrete obedience is a misunderstanding of the message and lesson than a Christian faith. Obedient children then could be another name for genuine Christianity. It's a very important thing that we see that as one of the more valuable things, the concrete reality. Sometimes we run into spiritual walls and they're very concrete and they stop us. And because we don't have those concepts about our faith, we wonder what happened to us. But if we were sensitive to the Spirit, we'd understand, oh, we've run into a spiritual wall here, and I need to start confronting that. And so earth dwellers run into spiritual walls, but they never see them, and they don't understand it, and they just stop at that point. The Christian, if they understand they've run into a spiritual wall, they then get around it and are able to continue to grow. And that's the secret that we have that the earth dweller does not possess. The next item that I thought was very important, dealing with the concreteness of things, is that so many times, if we don't have that proper identification of what things are concrete and what are not, we tend to make Christ our alibi. And we'll say something to the effect, well, someone will ask you to do something, well, I can't, I'm a Christian, and I can't do that because I'm a Christian. That's an alibi, trying to get out of something. You want Christ to be your reason. You're looking down at a future event that is everything to you. And so therefore, he is going to be your reason for doing something, not your alibi. Why are you doing this? Well, Christ has a job for me to do, and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. And as I do it, it makes me grow closer and closer to him, because I see him down there waiting for me. And he's the reason that I'm doing this. He's not an alibi. He has become your reason. And that's the joy. That's what we want to present to the world. The next section, I started talking about Jonathan and how important he was to me, and how I wish I could be more like him in so many ways. But what I'd like to do is open up with 1 Samuel 14. Excuse me while I get there. First Samuel 14. And we'll be looking at verses 6 and 7. Now, Israel is about ready to fight the Philistines. There's all kinds of struggles going on. And please forgive me for not going through all the details, because I'm trying to get across a certain concept here. I would hope that each individual would go back, reread verses, that they would go back through and delve into basic truths in Scripture, and evaluate if I'm accurate or not accurate. That is upon your shoulders. So please, I'm just trying to get across certain aspects here. Saul uh, and the kingdom are in the process of fighting with the Philistines, and Jonathan comes up with an idea he's going to try to do on his own with his armor bearer also. And in verse 6 is where he starts, and he says, Then Jonathan said to the young man who was carrying his armor, Come and let us cross over to the garrison of these uncircumcised. Perhaps the Lord will work for us. For the Lord is not restrained to save by many or by a few. His armor bearer said to him, Do all that is in your heart. Turn yourself, and here I am with you, according to your desire. My goodness, Jonathan is not afraid to go out and do things on his own. But in this case, it's the armor bearer that should be our example. Wherever you go, I'm going to be right there with you. I'm going to be right behind you. And I'm not going to be way back behind you. I'm going to be right with you. And that's the mindset I hope I could carry on, that no matter where Christ leads me, if he turns around, I'm going to be there. That is a beautiful witness. And Jonathan not only was a man who would step out in faith on his own at times if he had to, but he was surrounded. He had people with him that were wonderful individuals to live up to their part and their responsibility. We go on to verses 44 and 45 in 14. Now, at this point, Saul has made a rash vow, what would we call it? He's said that, I guess a rash vow would be best instead of going through all the details of it. And Jonathan now is going to suffer the consequences of the vow that Saul made. And so this is where we're at. This is Saul speaking in 44 of 14. Saul said, May God do this to me and more also, for you shall surely die, Jonathan. So he's going to put to death his own son because of his rash vow. But listen to what happens. But the people said to Saul, Must Jonathan die, who has brought about this great deliverance in Israel? Far from it. As the Lord lives, there shall not one hair of his head fall to the ground. For he has worked with God this day. So the people rescued Jonathan, and he did not die. The people liked Jonathan. Saul made silly mistakes, said silly things, but Jonathan was a man of integrity, and the people could see that, and they were willing to step in. And so you have this individual who's willing to go out and do the job the right way and work with God. And the people saw it, and they were willing to step in and try to help him out. Then we go to chapter 20 of 1 Samuel. We are not going to be able to read the whole section again, but Jonathan has shown earlier that he has he loves David, and that David will become the king, and Jonathan is at peace with that. He has fallen in love with God's choice for his life. Saul has not. And so we run into this situation in 28 where Saul is looking to kill David, and Jonathan is giving an excuse for David. Jonathan then answered Saul, David earnestly asked leave of me to go to Bethlehem, for he said, Please let me go, since our family has a sacrifice in the city, and my brother has commanded me to attend. And now, if I have found favor in your sight, please let me get away that I may see my brothers. For this reason he has not come to the king's table. Then Saul's anger burned against Jonathan, and he said to him, You son of a perverse, rebellious woman, do I not know that you are choosing the son of Jesse to your own shame and to the shame of your mother's nakedness? For as long as the son of Jesse lives on the earth, neither you nor your kingdom will be established. Therefore now send and bring him to me, for he must surely die. But Jonathan answered Saul, his father, and said to him, Why should he be put to death? What has he done? Then Saul hurled his spear at him to strike him down. So Jonathan knew that his father had decided to put David to death. And so now all of a sudden, his being in love with God's choice for his life has now taken the kingdom away from him. It's going to go to David, and it has caused a family rift that is unbelievable, so bad that his own father was saying abusive things and also tried to kill him with a spear. But Jonathan just keeps being Jonathan. There is nothing about him that we can see that is appropriate in his relationship with David or his father. Then we go on to 1 Samuel 31, 1 and 2. Verses 1 and 2. Now the Philistines were fighting against Israel, and the men of Israel fled from before the Philistines and fell slain on Mount Gilboa. The Philistines overtook Saul and his sons, and the Philistines killed Jonathan and his brothers. But Saul is left alive, and he looks around, and who's there with him? It is Jonathan, the very individual that he spoke poorly of, that he tried to kill twice even. And he's still there fighting to the death, living up to his responsibilities as the son of the king. There's a lot of young men in those days that would have figured out how to poison their father to become king. There's a lot of them that would have figured out how to run their fathers off so they could become king. My goodness, David experiences that, but Saul does not, because he has a boy that is faithful to God. He was faithful in his spiritual calling to see God's plan and submit to that plan. He was faithful to his earthly calling to do it right and stay faithful to it. And I would hope we as Christians can do the exact same thing. It is of utmost importance for us to be that way. And that's why I like Jonathan so much. He was just a man who was faithful to his calling, and it cost him everything, and he still remained faithful to the very end. Then the next point I wanted to make was about the adoption. I'd use the term adoption, and I wanted to say a little bit more about that because the word adoption in the Greek is different than it is the way we look at adoption. The Greek was using the Roman mindset for adoption. We think you go into an orphanage, you pick out a little kid, you bring him home, and everything's beautiful. In that case, the adoption is dealing with a man who doesn't have children or he doesn't like his children, and he needs someone to take over his estate to carry it on in his name. So he goes out, he finds someone, a young man who is astute in these areas, and he then adopts him. That person that is adopted then is completely changed. Any past debts are gone. Any past names or identity he's had in the city of Rome are completely changed. He now has become a totally new person. He is that individual's son. And on top of it, he immediately is to go in to working in the trade or the business, whatever was going on. And so their entire past is gone. They are now a new creation completely according to that Roman adoption practice. And they immediately go to work. And it's a beautiful picture for us. We are immediately saved. Our past is gone. Now we are new creatures and we immediately go to work. That is our responsibility, to work for the Lord. Again, I'm trying to cut these notes down so they're not too long. I hope that they make sense. And in all things, I hope that you have a lovely day, and bye-bye.